Hi, fourth graders. So today we are going to continue with our history unit all about Native Americans, but we are also going to participate in a fun cooperative learning activity called Stand Up, Hands Up, Pair Up. In class, we've been doing all kinds of fun cooperative learning activities, so I think that you're really going to enjoy this one. So with that, let's begin. So our fourth grade unit has been all about Native Americans, but before we continue with our lesson today, we're going to jump back to our lesson yesterday and read our I can statement. I can name different California Native American tribes and explain how they use natural resources to survive in their environment. So remember from yesterday, we talked all about how Native Americans use natural resources based on the four regions that they're from: the coast, the Central Valley, the desert, or the mountains. Before we move on in our unit, let's review what we have learned in an activity called Stand Up, Hand Up, Pair Up. Now, what is Stand Up, Hand Up, Pair Up? Let's watch this short video of Miss Hicks and her 6th grade math class do Stand Up, Hand Up, Pair Up to show us.
Structure I used in this video is stand up, hand up, pair up, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Students stand up, they put their hand up, and then they pair up with someone else in the class. And with the task cards, the students had to pair up with every single other person in the class. During the structure, each student was kind of in charge of their own problem. So then they would kind of trade problems, they'd do each other's, and it was really nice because each student, I checked the answer to the.
So now comes the fun part, the actual activity. So we're going to participate in Stand Up, Hand Up, Pair Up. So now you've watched the video, so you kind of have an idea of what we're going to do. And both of us have already given you a California tribe card, okay? So some of you might have a card that says the Chumash, some of you might have a card that says Shasta. It's going to be one type of tribe that's from California. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand up and mix around the room having your hand up. When one of us say pair up, then you're going to try to find a partner and high-five them, or you can just smile at them if you don't really want to touch them. It's up to you, okay? And then you're going to perform the task. So what you're going to do is when you've found a partner, your task is to read the tribe's name on your partner's card and also name the region of California where the tribe is located. And then you're going to explain what natural resources they had and how they used them, okay? So for example, if my partner has the tribe Chumash, I would say Chumash. They are located in the coastal region, and a huge natural resource they had was the ocean, which they used to hunt for food, like hunting fish, okay? When you're done, then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to mix around the room and find a new partner, alright? So let's begin the activity. Okay, so now speaking to everyone in Education 441, let's get out our yellow strategy chart. So we're going to add a new strategy to our chart, which is, of course, stand up, hand up, pair up. Now, to briefly go over the standard that we used for our lesson for 4th grade, it was all about discussing the major nations of California Indians, specifically on how they depended on, adapted to, and modified the physical environment by cultivation of land and use of sea resources. So now going back to our strategy. So let's think about the steps. What would we write down? Well, first, the teacher would make a task or activity card or a presentation with questions. We used a activity card because we thought it might be easier if they're mixing around the room. And then the next thing is that the teacher would explain the activity and pass out cards to students if applicable. If you have a presentation, then you wouldn't really need to pass anything out. The teacher would then instruct students to stand up and mix around the room with their hand in the air. The teacher will then say, pair up, and students would find a partner and high-five each other, and then perform whatever task there is. Now, sometimes students may not really feel comfortable high-fiving each other, so they can smile, they can say partner, or they could do anything else if they don't really want to high-five each other. And then the last thing is just to keep repeating the same process until the teacher says to stop. Okay? So now we're going to talk about how we could use this strategy with different grade levels.
Let's explore how to do stand-up, hand-up, pair-up with other grade levels. If we were to do this activity with kindergarten, we could do so with the standards such as the one on this slide. Key point 3. Students match simple descriptions of work that people do and the names of related jobs at the school in the local community and from historical accounts. So in this case, we would have students receive a job card with roles such as those on the right side, nurse, mechanic, fisherman, and when students find a partner, they need to describe their partner's job. This is an opportunity for students to learn about a variety of job roles in the community through this one activity. Students can teach their classmates and at the same time learn from their classmates about other jobs in the community, some which they might already be aware of or some that they may not necessarily know about. If we were to do this activity with second grade, we could do so with a standard like 2.5. Students understand the importance of individual action and character and explain how heroes from long ago and the recent past have made a difference in others' lives. So for this kind of standard, we would have students receive a card with the name of a hero such as Abraham Lincoln, Marie Curie, Jackie Robinson, Albert Einstein, the list goes on and on. When students partner up, they will explain who their partner's person was and why they are important heroes in America. This will allow students to access new knowledge, review what they already know, and requires a higher level of thinking as students not only think about who this person is, but why they are so significant in America. As mentioned before, it is also an opportunity for students to give and take information as their partners can help to answer the question.
So we could even use the stand-up, hand-up, pair-up cooperative learning strategy with fifth graders all about the American Revolution. So one standard we have to learn in fifth grade is understand how political, religious, and economic ideas and interests brought about the revolution. So the resistance to imperial policy, the Stamp Act, the Township Acts, taxes on tea, and the Coercive Acts. So using the same steps we used in the fourth grade activity, students would receive a card with some sort of event that led to the American Revolution. So maybe someone has the Boston Tea Party. When students partner up, they would need to say the date it occurred, so when the Boston Tea Party occurred, explain what happened during this event, so saying that people dressed up as Native Americans and dumped tea into the harbor, and lastly, why it led to the American Revolution, so saying that it angered the English, which led to more taxes and eventually led to the famous Intolerable Act. So now let's look at adaptations for stand-up, hand-up, pair-up. So first let's look at children with limited mobility. So this may include children who are in wheelchairs, children who maybe have muscular dystrophy or cerebral palsy who need walkers or wheelchairs. So standing up and mixing around the classroom may not be possible or very difficult to do. So how would we adapt the activity to meet their needs? Well, the first thing would be to create a positive classroom environment by encouraging students who are able to mix around the classroom to go to those students so they don't have to get up and move around the classroom. Also, the teacher or even a student could be an advocate for this child and let other students know this person doesn't have a partner or this person needs a partner, just to create a very comfortable classroom environment. If the child is able to move around in a wheelchair or walker, even moving the furniture around to provide more space for those who need it might really be beneficial so they feel like they're fully part of the activity if they do want to get up and mix around the room.
For English language learners, we could front-load new terminology before the activity. This would give students the time to practice and familiarize themselves with the words. We could also put words in a personal dictionary where they would have the word, definition, example, and an image. This would be something they can take around with them during the activity. If their partner says a word or they see a word they can recognize but can't necessarily define, they can look back at their journal for support. We can also adapt the activity/task card by providing visuals and sentence stems. If we were considering our 4th grade standard from before, it would look something like the sample on the right side. The front of the card would have the name of the tribe, and the back of the card would have a visual as well as sentence stems where the student's job is to now fill in the spaces provided. This still allows to check for content knowledge, but remove the barrier of having to create a sentence on their own. More annotations are as follows. For gifted students that would like to continue working with classmates, we can ask them to help peers that may need help during the activity. If some gifted students would rather work alone, we could have a separate crossword activity ready or give them an opportunity to explore more about the tribes online. For neurodiverse students, we could provide them with a graphic organizer where they organize what they are learning from the activity to use as a future reference. We could also color coordinate the task cards in order to provide some visual support. That concludes our cooperative learning strategy, Stand Up, Hand Up, Pair Up. Thank you for joining us.